Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. Good to see you all. We may have a couple come in late, so I've got mats ready for them. But if you want to spread out at all, you're welcome to do that. We'll go ahead and start seated today. One leg crossed in front of the other. It doesn't matter which one. Does everybody have blocks and a strap? Just keep those handy somewhere near the top of your mat, probably. But right now, if there's any sensations going on in the knees, any pulling, any tugging, any pain there at all, and let's just call it everything surrounding that knee. Anything's going on there right now, just go ahead and grab those blocks and prop those knees up. I'm using two. Never want to use one. That could mean for a more significant imbalance. It'll grow gradually over time. So if you use one block, just be sure to use two. We'll go hands to the lap, palms up. Maybe rest the eyes or a light gaze on something in front of you. We're just going to take the next couple minutes just to check in, check that landscape we're working with today. Start out like a pilot in the cockpit, checking all the dials there. Scan from the feet all the way through the head. Checking out the terrain here. Checking out the fires. Looking at that oil level, gas level. How are you feeling today? During the practice, you're going to tune in to anything you find going through this beginning checklist. Check in with that noise later, making sure that we don't make it worse. Let's go ahead and shift that attention to the head space. What's going on up there mentally, emotionally? Want to keep an eye on those items as well. Mind's going to come and go. It's going to drift back to those things spinning around up there. Anxiety. You overanalyze. We're going to take those things and we're just going to kind of shift away from them for the hour. When the mind goes, you're going to bring those thoughts back to the breath, back to the body. Let's bookmark what that breath is like right now. start to grow the breath, and as we start to grow the breath, we're going to start to extend the spine a little bit taller. Kind of pull those shoulders down and away from the ears. Doesn't have to be the biggest breath. Through the nose, through the mouth, doesn't matter, just a little bigger. Let's take those hands out to the sides. Fingers are a direct extension out of those shoulders. Ladies, give that tailbone just a little bit of tuck. I know that lower back tends to arch for most of us. Go ahead and check in with those knees one more time. If you need those blocks at any point when we're seated, legs crossed, just grab them and prop them right under. Reaching the crown of the head toward the ceiling. Sit bones firmly rooted. Might start to kick this left hand up just a bit, maybe a few inches. Keep those bigger inhales, exhales. Next exhale, I'm going to send the crown of the head away from those left fingertips. Navigating slowly. We'll call this taxi out. Any numbness or tingling in the arms or the hands, bring them closer to the torso or even back to the lap. Next exhale, we're going to take that chin in the direction of that right collarbone. So slowly moving, looking for the body's natural boundary. Every once in a while, things get in the way on taxi out, so go ahead and adjust. Keep an eye on those. Send a few big breaths right into wherever you feel the stretch. Remember to ignore me when I come out of the postures. My focus is to instruct. Let's inhale that head back up to center. Let's reset. Shoulders down and away from those ears. Crown of the head reaching. Check in with the knees. Next exhale, we'll take those right fingers up. We'll give them a few inches. And we'll send the crown of the head away from those right fingertips. Next exhale, let's take that chin in the direction of that left collarbone. Spine is nice and straight. Still have those long, big breaths. Numbness or tingling, remember, just closer to the torso. Notice any side-to-side differences, anything feeling tighter on this side, or maybe even a little bit more cooperative. We're going to inhale slowly, that head back up to center. Let's switch the cross in the legs. This might mean that side with a little bit tighter, might be in the front now. Hips and knees are connected. Let's take a look there. Maybe you didn't need the blocks. Maybe you do need them now. Let's go ahead and extend that spine line long, tall. Shoulders are down. We're going to take the right hand and we're going to place it on the outside of this left knee. We're going to take the left hand behind. Fingers are going to be wide. Fingers are going to be gripping. Big inhale, and on the exhale, we're going to sit tall and we're going to twist toward the left. Let's pull those shoulders down and away from the ears. Only twisting as far as that spine is still straight. Losing the breath there, scale back. Any pain being amplified, scale back. Last big breath on this side. And then we're going to turn that body forward. We're going to pivot that. We're going to send the right hand behind. Fingers wide, palms and fingers gripping. Left hand outside that right leg this time. Extending tall. And on an exhale, twisting toward the right. One more big breath here. And then gently coming back to face forward. Let's go fingertips right out front. Check in with those knees, especially if you're on that awkward leg in the front. And on an exhale, let's walk those fingers forward. Looking for that first natural boundary. Send a few big breaths there. Sometimes once you've taken a couple of big breaths, find a little more depth. Let's keep that spine straight here. Sit bones are still rooted to the floor. Crown of the head is pulling actively away from those sit bones. If you lose that breath, remember to scale back. One more here. And then we're gently going to walk those hands back up. We're going to send them behind the hips. They're going to be a little bit wider here, maybe mat width. Fingers are wide, actively gripping. On an exhale, you're going to start to send the chest toward the ceiling. Give that tailbone a little tuck if you find you're losing it. Shoulders are moving back. Opening that chest up, sending some of those big fresh breaths right into that chest. Let's keep a little micro bend in those elbows. Gripping with those fingers, that's strengthening the joints all the way up those arms. One more big breath right here. And then bringing those hands back up to center. Let's go ahead and send those legs out straight in front of us. Maybe a little shake after being folded up. go ahead and flex the feet. Point the toes, flex. You can spread the toes, give them some wiggles. Go ahead with that. Let's take both hands behind. It's going to be a bit closer to those hips. Fingers are still gripping here though. Going to use those arms to support up tall. Shoulders down. Toes toward the ceiling here. And on an exhale, you might find you have a bit of a hinge forward. Trying to keep that spine straight, but a lot of us are going to be right here. Long neck, long spine, long breaths. One more. And then let's gently release there. Relaxing those feet. We're going to transition now to hands and knees. We're not going to dance our way there. That's not yoga. We're just going to get there safely. So mindful of those knees as you transition. So once you're on hands and knees here, let's do a little check. Shoulders are stacked over the elbows, are stacked over the wrists. Fingers wide, fingers and palms actively gripping the mat. Hips are stacked right over those knees. We're going to pull the crown of our head toward the wall in front. We're going to pull the sit bones in the opposite direction. We're going to keep those elbows soft. Just a couple big breaths right there. We're going to tuck the toes. We're going to send the hips in the direction of the ceiling. The chest is moving toward the front of the thighs. The back of the legs are moving toward the wall behind. Heels are moving in the direction of the floor. Gaze is between your feet. Keep those big breaths going. You might pedal out here. You might lift one leg, then the other. And when you're ready, we're going to start to walk those feet toward the hands. Maybe a bit of the hands toward the feet. And we're going to roll up slowly, one vertebrae at a time. Once you find yourself in that upright position, let's pick up the toes. Get a little grip on the mat there. Just notice how you're standing. How's that weight balance, front to back, side to side? Let's try to even it out. Let's go hands down at the sides, palms facing the body. Let's pull the crown of the head toward the ceiling. Feet are rooted to the ground. Let's soften the knees and let's give that tailbone a tuck so it's pointed in the direction of the floor. Just a couple big breaths right there. Let's send those arms all the way up. Let's clasp the hands, palms in the direction of the ceiling. What happened with that tailbone? What happened with those knees? Toes are gripping. Some arms are going to be straighter than others. Lose that breath, scale back. Body starts to lock up, scale back. One more breath here. And then let's gently release those hands. Anything we do one direction, we're doing the other. Let's send them behind the hips. We're going to send those knuckles in the direction of the floor as we pull the crown of our head in the opposite direction toward the ceiling. Toes, knees, tailbone. Check how that weight's distributed. Primary movement here. Shoulders are back. One more big breath here. And then we're going to gently release. Going to still keep those feet about hip width here. Toes are gripping the mat actively. On an exhale, we're going to start to send the hips down and back. As we reach the arms forward, we're going to be sitting in a chair here. Let's keep that spine straight. You want to find a space here that's sustainable. I want you to take a peek down. Make sure you can see your toes. We're trying to keep those joints stacked. Keep those big breaths going. Keep those fingertips actively reaching forward. One more big breath here. And then we're just going to come to a standing position. We're going to drop those arms behind. We're going to place the heels of the palms to that lower back. Soften the knees, tuck the tailbone. Exhaling, we're going to send our chest in the direction of the ceiling. Shoulders and elbows are moving back here. Try to keep that spine straight. Try not to collapse that head behind. Send some more good big breaths there. One more. And then gently releasing there. Let's do a bit of a reverse. Hands together, clasped in front. Knees are soft. We're going to send the knuckles toward the wall in front. And we're going to pull the shoulder blades in the opposite direction. Check in with that middle back. Check in with that lower back. You want those to be relatively straight here, creating space in this upper back. Just one more here. And then gently releasing those hands once more. Let's do a balancing posture or two. You Could be on the mat, could be on the carpet, or even the hard floor toward the back. Wherever you feel best for balancing. First, let's just find that center of gravity again on both feet. Side to side, front to back. Might find something to focus on, probably something that's not moving. Might want to keep your eyes open too. We're going to take a step forward with the left foot. We're going to grip with the left toes. We're going to make sure we're going to project out of that left hip, keeping it straight, not allowing it to collapse. And we're going to pick up the right foot in front. Doesn't matter how high that foot goes. Doesn't matter if it comes down 100 times. You're still balancing. You want to find that place just outside your comfort zone. Remember, don't follow my depth here. Find that place where that ankle's wobbly. Might take that right hand to that right knee slowly, extending the left hand out, palm facing forward. And you might start to guide that right knee out to the side. Let's check in with that left hip. Make sure it's balanced there. Straight, I should have said. Body's going to want to collapse it for more depth. We're looking to create space in the body. I should have thrown several off. Didn't. It's hard to talk and do this. Maybe not for you. Let's slowly bring that knee forward. Let's bring that foot down to the mat. Let's give those hips a good shake. How's that for a conversation going on during balancing? Let's see what happens with that other side. Just go ahead and shake that one off. This time we're going to take a step forward with the right foot. We're going to grip with those right toes. We're going to dedicate that headspace right to that hip. Arms down at the sides. We're slowly going to pick up that left foot. When that ankle's wobbly, it's stabilizing, strengthening. Right now, that knee is also strengthening. Balancing postures are great for those knees. If you're not wobbly, you're going to want to pick up that leg a little bit higher. You want to find that part that's not overwhelming, but also not shy of growth. Maybe that left hand to the top of that left knee. You can counter by extending that right arm out. Check in with the hip. Soften the knee. Bring that breath back. And guide that left knee out to the side. Only going as far as you can still keep that breath. Still keeping that hip straight. Need a little more, you can close your eyes on these balancing postures. When you're ready, guiding that knee back over or around, taking that foot down to the floor, giving those hips a good shake. And shake off that side. Let's pick those toes up, get a grip on the mat again, soften the knees, tuck the tailbone, arms down at the sides, palms facing the body. We're going to start to draw tiny circles with the crown of the head on the ceiling. So moving slowly in one direction here. What happened with the knees? What happened with the tailbone? Any clicking, popping, grinding, you're going to reduce the size of the circle. Always remember we're creating space. You don't want bone on bone. If you find a place that's particularly tight, go ahead and pause there. Give it a few good breaths. Let's reverse the direction of that circle. Again, pausing if you find a tight spot. Finding that extension in every part of the circle. And then stopping right here at center. Let's go feet together here. Find that bit of balance. Knees are still soft, tailbone still tucked. Hands to the front of the thighs. And on an exhale, you're going to start to slowly send those hands down the front of the thighs as we hinge forward. Try to squeeze those legs together. You're only going to hinge forward as far as you can maintain that tabletop-like spine. So we're all going to look different here. Grip with those toes. You're going to pull your sit bones toward the wall behind you. As you pull the crown of your head toward the wall in front of you. Breathe big here. And we're going to inhale that strong torso back up to center. Let's give those shoulders a roll up, back, and down. We're going to take the right foot here, and we're going to cross it around the left. Kind of the outsides of the feet together. Let's still keep those knees soft, and let's still keep that tailbone tucked. Hands to the front of the thighs again. Growing tall first. Big inhale. And on that exhale, again, sliding the hands down the front of the thighs, pulling the sit bones back, pulling the crown of the head forward, breathing big. Might not have as much depth here. Might feel this in a different place entirely. So look for that boundary, for that edge. Just take a couple breaths there. And then we're going to inhale that strong torso right back up to center. We're going to uncross that right foot. Brand new side, brand new body. This time we're going to take that left foot around the outside of that right. Steady ourselves a bit. Tuck the tailbone. Hands to the front of the thighs. Shoulders down if they're creeping toward the ears. Big inhale, exhale, hinging forward once again. Remember, don't want to round that lower or mid back here, especially those of you who have any kind of back issues going on. Folding is one of the worst things you can do. Keep breathing right here. Next inhale, let's bring that strong torso back upright. Let's uncross that left foot. Maybe give a little shake if you need it from crossing those. We're going to go to the front of the mat, top of the mat. Pretty close anyway. We're going to take a big step back with that right foot. We're going to keep all toes pointed forward for this one. Knees are soft here. Find a bit of that balance. Might have to adjust that stance for depth. I'm going to take my feet probably about the length of one of my legs. Would probably be a good way to judge how far back those feet go. But we're going to come up to those right toes. We're going to send the heel back as we bend this left front knee. We're going to reach forward with the hands. Fingertips are pulling away from that back heel. That back heel is driving back into the mat or toward the mat. So those opposite arrows of movement, moving in two different directions simultaneously. So actively reaching there. If you need a little strength, you can take the hands to the hips. And you might start to do a few of those knee dips. Slow moving. Maybe moving to the rhythm of your own breath there. But right knee moving in the direction of the floor. Notice what's locking up or fighting you back here. Let's just go one more there if you've added those dips. And then let's go hands to the hips. We're going to push off that back foot. Bring it up to meet the left. Hips a shake. Let's go back to the top of the mat there. These kind of dips, those are also really good for those joints. This time we're going to take a big step back with the left foot. Might have to adjust here, but remember, find that balance first. Consider how you're going into this movement. Now that you know that bit of strength might be added. We're going to bend this right front knee. Come up to toes on that back foot. Reaching forward with those fingertips, driving that left heel in the direction of the ground as you reach away from it. Check that knee is pretty much stacked over that ankle. That's your good test point there. Maybe hands to the hips. Need a little strength, you can start dipping that left knee down. Keep that breath going and move in rhythm to your own breath here. If you lose that breath, scale back. It's not a competition. Might just be going down a few centimeters. One more. And then let's drive that heel back. Let's reach forward with those fingertips. Slow down that breath a bit again. Hands back to the hips. We're going to push off that right foot, push off the left. Bring that left foot back. Give those hips a good shake. You should all have a strap, so I want you to reach down, grab that strap. Oh, there's still some back there. We're going to take the strap in our right hand to start. Check in with that stance. I know the energy's up. The breath is probably moving a bit. But let's soften the knees, tuck the tailbones, stay tall. We're going to take the strap in that right hand. We're going to go over that shoulder with it. Might have to check that stance again. We're going to take the left hand, we're going to send it behind. And once you've got both hands secured, you might start to inch that strap, inch your hands up on that strap. Primary movement here, shoulders and elbows are moving back. Back's going to want to arch. Body knows you can get more depth that way. Anything locking out, go ahead and scale back. I want you to take that bottom hand that's on that strap, and wherever it is right now, I want you to just kind of give yourself a little scratch there. Give yourself a little mark, just so you can see if there's any range of motion difference side to side. Once you've gotten that, we'll slowly release that strap. Take it into that left hand this time. We're going to send it over that opposite shoulder, reaching back this time with the right hand. Not going to autopilot to match depth, but maybe starting to inch that bottom hand up the strap. Primary movements, tailbones tucked, knees soft, shoulders moving back. Big breaths right there. Where are the fires? What's going on with the terrain right here? Last big breath on this side. And gently release. Let's hold on to that strap. Maybe give it a little more. Mine was doubled up there. Give yourself some slack right here. Soften those knees. Tuck the tailbone. And we're going to send the hands up. Opening those shoulders. Don't let that back arch. Maybe sending that strap back. You have full control over that depth here and the slack you give yourself in that strap. Might adjust your hands to find those different stretches. Last big breath on this side. And I'm going to call the other side, sending it behind the back. So go ahead and bring it forward. Let's go knuckles up toward the ceiling on this side. Finding a good starting point. Exhaling, lifting those arms behind. Where'd that breath go? Let's keep it moving, flowing. Last big breath here. And let's go ahead and release that strap. You can go ahead and drop it off to the side there. Feet hip width. Going to go through a down dog as we go back down. As we go back down to the floor. So 1 to 2 is the most you'll ever see in a class. It's a lot of load bearing on those wrists. So we're going to go ahead and take the hands to the front of the thighs again. We're going to extend tall. Shoulders pulling down and away from those ears. Exhaling, we're going to hinge forward. We're sending the sit bones back as we pull the crown of the head forward. We're going to pause right there. We're going to go into a fold here. We're not going all the way to the floor yet. We're just going to hang limp. Make that torso heavy. You might grab elbows. Give a sway side to side, front to back. We're going to take those hands back to the legs. We're going to get one more good extension, feeling that nice difference there. And then we're going to bend the knees. We're going to take both hands to the mat, fingers wide, actively gripping. We're going to walk the feet back, hips moving in the direction of the ceiling, chest moving toward the front of the thighs, back of the thighs moving toward the wall behind, heels moving in the direction of the floor, gaze is between your feet. Gripping with those fingers and maybe pedal out again, noticing how this down dog might be a little different from the first one. These are really good for the back and those Achilles. And when you're ready, we're going to start to shift the weight forward onto our arms, gripping with those fingers. And then we're going to gently take one knee down at a time. Let's bring the forearms down to the mat. Let's clasp the palms in front. Going to be a couple versions for this posture. Might scoot those knees back just a bit and keep them down on the ground. Going to pull the crown of the head forward and the sit bones back. Or you can tuck the toes and you can lift those hips, walking those feet back, driving those heels toward the wall behind, pulling the crown of your head in the opposite direction here. projecting out of those shoulders, strengthening there. Keep that breath going. Bring those knees down at any time if it gets to be too much. Looking for that nice tabletop back here. One more big breath here. Let's bring those knees down. Let's bring that belly down. Let's unclasp the hands here. Fingers wide. Gonna get one really good one in for the back here. We're going to use the strength of our arms to press down on the mat. And we're going to pull the crown of the head forward, pulling out of those shoulders. A few big breaths there. And gently release. Let's drop one cheek to the floor for 2 breaths. Let's switch to the other cheek for 2 breaths. And then we're going to use our hands to support ourselves back up. And simply transition to a seated position. Let's just go onto the right hip. Right hip here. We're going to start to send this left foot behind us, keeping this right sit bone grounded. That back leg is moving in the direction of straight, and you want to roll onto the top of that back foot as much as possible to protect that knee. We're going to square up the torso over this front knee. And on an exhale, we're going to start to walk those hands forward. Remember, you're looking for that natural boundary. Relax that back leg. Relax that back foot. Send some big breaths to calm that nervous system. You find you're all the way down to forearms here and feel a bit tapped out. You can take the left hand, you can thread it beneath that right arm, and you can send that left shoulder in the direction of the floor. If you add that twist to the posture, I want you to make sure that sit bone still stays rooted to the floor. Relax that jaw. Relax those lips. Keep the mind right here on the body, on the breath. The body's continuously changing, continuously adapting. So inhale, assess. Exhale. Make a choice, whether it's scale back or find a little bit more depth. Just staying present here. Saturday will wait for you. Your connecting flights will be out there waiting. for anything that may have tensed up. Go ahead and relax it again. Class is ending soon. Stay present a little bit longer. Before we transition to the other side, I just want you to kind of check here. If that arm is threaded, I want you to take a peek, see how far that left shoulder is from the ground. And if you're not threaded, just look to see how close the chest is to that front leg. Do that little marker here. Once you've assessed that, we're going to go ahead and start to walk those hands back up. You don't want that pilot taking a turn at 40 miles an hour on the taxiway unless you're taking off. Go ahead and slowly bring that left knee around. Let's not damage it. Bring it around in the front there. Brand new side, brand new body. Taking that right leg back, moving it in the direction of straight, rolling onto the top of that foot as much as possible. Squaring the torso this time over that left knee. Might already feel different here. Big inhale. Exhaling, walking those hands forward. This is also an excellent posture for those with lower back issues. Relax that back leg, relax that jaw. Down to forearms rather than rounding further. Take that right arm this time, thread the right hand beneath that left arm, sending that right shoulder toward the ground. Inhale, assessing, exhaling, finding the appropriate depth. 30 seconds after we started the posture. My times and postures are only suggested. Sometimes your time might be a little less, or sometimes you might need a little more. Our bodies are all different. Keep those big breaths, keep assessing. Final approach here. Like we did on that other side, I want you to just kind of check in right here for yourself. If that arm's threaded, How close to the floor is that right shoulder? If it's not threaded, take a look and see how close that chest is to that front leg. These are considerably different or noticeably different. I have a bit of an range of motion imbalance there. Always good to spend a little more time on the side with less range of motion. Get those sides balanced out. That's always homework. So once you've got that check mark, you're going to slowly walk those hands back up. Slowly bringing that right leg around. Soles of the feet to the mat. Two options here. Need a bit of strength. Those abs, you can go ahead and extend those hands forward, pulling those fingertips out of the shoulders, and then going down just as slowly as you can to the floor, onto the back, moving into our final posture. Don't need strength there. You take those hands to the shins and gently and slowly roll back. Extend the legs out long. Allow the feet to fall however they fall. Arms may be at the sides, palms up. Or they may rest on the belly. If you're having trouble settling that back, you could take those blocks, place them under the knees. At home, you might use a towel or blanket. Become as heavy as you can here. Relax the feet. Relax the calves. Relax the thighs. Relax the hips. Relax the belly, the ribs, relax the chest, the shoulders, relax the arms. Relax the head. Relax the jaw. The cheeks. Relax the forehead. Relax all those tiny muscles in the face. We're going to bookend with that check-in. Call it the arrival check-in, or even the pre-departure to the next activity. What's the body like now? the headspace like now? What's the breath like now?